Maria Delgado flipped off the lamp in her cramped Bakersfield, California, apartment, but sleep refused to come. Lying in bed, her chest felt heavy, like she was carrying a backpack full of rocks. Worries swirled in her mind. Unpaid bills, a fight with her teenage daughter Sophia, and her mother's failing health. Maria, a 38-year-old cashier and mom of two, was no stranger to sleepless nights, but tonight, an odd unease gripped her. She grabbed her phone, and a YouTube notification caught her eye. 3 bedtime words that can change your life, Pope Francis's teaching. Curious, Maria tapped the video. A warm, steady voice filled the room. Do you ever feel like life's missing a piece? Tonight, you'll find an answer through 3 simple words from Pope Francis. Though Maria wasn't a regular churchgoer, she admired Pope Francis's down-to-earth wisdom. The narrator revealed that in a 2018 Vatican homily, Pope Francis shared 3 words: thank you, forgive, and trust, that could bring peace and strength if spoken before bed. But first, the narrator said, let me tell you about Javier. Javier, a mechanic in Oakland, was once consumed by stress over debts and his son's illness. One night, he overheard a co-worker mention Pope Francis's homily. Javier started saying, thank you, each night, focusing on small moments: a kind customer, a family dinner, or his son's proud smile. Slowly, his sleep deepened, and he found clarity to tackle his problems. Javier's not alone, the narrator emphasized. Hundreds across America have transformed their lives with this practice. A spark of hope flickered in Maria. The narrator introduced the first word: thank you. Pope Francis teaches that heartfelt gratitude can light up your spirit, he said. Each night, think of 3 specific things you're thankful for. They don't have to be big, just real. Maria closed her eyes. She pictured her 8-year-old son, Miguel, giggling at her silly joke over dinner. Thank you for Miguel's laugh, she whispered. Then she recalled her co-worker Lisa, who brought her coffee during a hectic shift. Thank you for Lisa's kindness. Finally, she thought of her mom, still calling to check on her despite her illness. Thank you for Mom being here. A wave of relief washed over Maria, like a few rocks had slipped from her backpack. The narrator continued, gratitude isn't just words. It's a candle in the dark. Research from Stanford University shows daily gratitude reduces stress and improves sleep. Maria was stunned. Something so simple had science behind it. But Pope Francis, the narrator explained, went further. He teaches us to thank even our struggles, because they shape us, and to thank the future as a sign of hope. Maria thought of her fight with Sophia, who'd snapped that Maria never cared. Hesitantly, she whispered, thank you for Sophia challenging me, because it's teaching me to listen. The words felt strange, but they stirred a quiet strength in her. The narrator suggested keeping a notebook by the bed to jot down 3 reasons for gratitude each night. Write them down, and your mind will start seeking the good, he said. Maria grabbed an old notebook from a drawer and scribbled her 3 thanks. As she set the pen down, a soft peace settled over her, like she'd completed a sacred ritual. The story didn't end there. The narrator shared about Anna, a nurse in San Diego, who was burned out from work and guilt over neglecting her family. After hearing about Pope Francis's homily on a podcast, Anna started noting small joys: a patient smile, a co-worker sharing lunch, or her daughter's laughter. Over time, her sleep improved, and she rediscovered joy in her chaotic days. Gratitude changed how Anna saw life, the narrator said. Maria felt inspired. She wasn't expecting miracles, but she wanted to try. The narrator wrapped up, the second and third words will come in the next videos. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss them. Pope Francis says, every night is a chance to be reborn. Will you start tonight? Maria hesitated, then hit subscribe. This wasn't just a video. It felt like an invitation to change. That night, Maria slept deeper, free from nightmares. When she woke, Bakersfield's morning sun slipped through the blinds, and she caught herself smiling for the first time in weeks. She didn't know where the next 2 words would take her, but she was ready to find out. Maria Delgado sat in her small Bakersfield, California, apartment, the dim glow of a desk lamp illuminating the notebook where she'd jotted down 3 things she was thankful for last night. After trying "thank you" as taught by Pope Francis, Maria noticed her sleep was deeper, and this morning, she woke with a flicker of hope. But as the day wore on, the heaviness crept back. Her fight with her daughter Sophia, her mother's critical remarks, and old mistakes haunted her like shadows that wouldn't fade. Maria knew she needed something more. And just then, a new YouTube notification popped up. Pope Francis's second word, the key to freeing your soul. Maria clicked the video, her heart racing. The narrator's warm voice felt like a friend's. "You've tried "thank you" and felt a shift. Now, Pope Francis brings you the second word, forgive. It's the key to letting go of the burdens you carry to bed. The narrator revealed that in a 2019 Vatican homily, Pope Francis emphasized that forgiving others and yourself cleanses the soul, like tending a wound to help it heal. To show you the power of forgive, the narrator said, "Meet Rosa." Rosa, a teacher in Sacramento, was once consumed by guilt for missing her father's final days. She was angry at herself and her brother for not notifying her in time. One day, Rosa heard a priest mention Pope Francis's 2019 homily. She started practicing forgiveness each night, acknowledging small mistakes like snapping at a student and saying, "I forgive myself for not being perfect today." She also forgave her brother, realizing he hadn't meant to hurt her. Slowly, Rosa slept better, and her heart felt lighter. Rosa found herself again, the narrator said. Maria felt Rosa's story hit close to home. She thought of Sophia, of the time she yelled at her for breaking a bowl, a small mistake that gnawed at her. She thought of her mother, always critiquing her parenting, and the nights she berated herself for not being a perfect mom. The narrator explained, Pope Francis teaches that forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about releasing anger and guilt. Take a few minutes each night to reflect on your day, not to judge yourself, but to heal. Maria grabbed her notebook and took a deep breath. She thought about today. "I forgive myself for yelling at Sophia," she whispered. Then she recalled her mother's sharp words over the phone. "I forgive Mom because she didn't mean to hurt me." Finally, she thought of herself, of the nights she tortured herself for not being enough. "I forgive myself because I'm doing my best." Each word felt like a stone lifting from her chest, leaving a gentle space behind. The narrator stressed, forgiveness is an act of self-love. Research from UC Davis shows forgiving reduces stress and boosts mental health. Maria was amazed, a spiritual practice backed by science. The narrator added, Pope Francis teaches that forgiveness has 3 levels: owning your mistakes, forgiving others, and most crucially, forgiving yourself. Only then are you truly free. Maria felt a surge of resolve. She opened her notebook and wrote, "Today, I forgive Sophia for talking back because she's just growing up. I forgive Mom for her harsh words. I forgive myself for not being perfect." As she set the pen down, she felt unburdened, like she'd stepped through a new doorway. The narrator shared another story about Diego, a chef in Los Angeles who carried pain from friend betrayal at work. Diego embraced forgive after hearing a radio show about Pope Francis's homily. Each night, he acknowledged moments of anger, like arguing with a coworker, and said, "I forgive them, and I forgive myself." Over time, Diego not only slept better, but rebuilt trust with others. Forgiveness unlocked a new Diego, the narrator said. Maria felt inspired. She didn't expect all her pain to vanish, but she wanted to keep going. The narrator concluded, "The third word comes in the next video. Subscribe and hit the bell to stay with us." Pope Francis says, forgiveness is the door to peace. Will you open it tonight? Maria clicked subscribe. Feeling this was a journey she couldn't stop. That night, Maria slept deeper, free from nightmares of past mistakes. The next morning, she woke with a new sensation. Not everything was perfect, but she felt stronger. She didn't know what the third word held, but she was ready to embrace it. Maria Delgado sat on her bed in her small Bakersfield, California, apartment, the soft glow of her bedside lamp falling on the notebook filled with her thank you and forgive entries. After 2 weeks of practicing Pope Francis's teachings, Maria felt a shift. Her sleep was deeper, and she'd begun facing her guilt about Sophia and her mother with more grace. But worries still clung to her like shadows. Unpaid bills, her mom's health, and her son Miguel's uncertain future. Tonight, a storm of anxiety swirled in her chest, as if everything could collapse. Then a YouTube notification popped up. Pope Francis's third word, the secret to finding peace. Maria clicked a video, her heart pounding. The narrator's warm voice felt encouraging. You've learned thank you to light your spirit and forgive to heal. Now, Pope Francis brings the third word, trust. It's how you let go of burdens beyond your control. The narrator revealed that in a 2020 Vatican address, Pope Francis emphasized that trusting, surrendering worries to something greater, is the key to peace, like dropping a heavy backpack after a long day. To show you the power of trust, the narrator said, meet Elena. Elena, a bank teller in San Francisco, used to lie awake worrying about company layoffs. She feared losing her job and failing her daughter. One night, Elena heard an online sermon citing Pope Francis's 2020 address. She started practicing trust each night, listing her 3 biggest worries, like job loss or health, and saying, I surrender this because I can't control everything. She pictured placing each worry in a box and closing the lid. Slowly, Elena slept better and found calm to update her resume. Trust gave Elena strength, the narrator said. Maria felt Elena's story echo her own fears. She worried about bills, her mom's upcoming medical tests, and whether she could give Miguel a good future. The narrator explained, Pope Francis teaches that trust isn't giving up responsibility. It's recognizing you need rest to face tomorrow. Take a few minutes each night to name 3 worries, then surrender them to the future, the universe, or whatever you believe in. Maria grabbed her notebook and took a deep breath. She thought of her biggest worries. I surrender the bills because I'll find a way, she whispered. And she thought of her mom, awaiting test results. I surrender mom's health because I can't control the outcome. Finally, she thought of Miguel, dreaming of becoming an engineer. I surrender Miguel's future because I believe he'll find his path. Each word felt like a rope snapping, leaving a strange sense of freedom. The narrator stressed, trust is an act of wisdom. Research from UCLA shows letting go of worries before bed reduces stress and improves health. Maria was amazed, a spiritual practice backed by science. The narrator added, Pope Francis teaches that trust is surrendering what you can't control, so you can focus on what you can do. Maria felt a surge of resolve. She wrote in her notebook, today, I surrender my money worries. I surrender mom's health. I surrender Miguel's dreams. As she set the pen down, she felt lighter, like she'd released a balloon into the sky. The narrator shared another story about Luis, a delivery driver in San Jose who was haunted by fear of accidents after witnessing a crash. Luis embraced trust after a friend mentioned Pope Francis's address. Each night, he listed his fears, like accidents or job loss, and said, I surrender this because I can't control everything. He imagined placing his fears in a bag and letting it float away. Over time, Luis not only slept better, but drove with newfound calm. Trust changed how Luis lived, the narrator said. Maria felt inspired. She didn't expect all her problems to vanish, but she wanted to keep going. The narrator concluded, the 3 words are now revealed, but your journey isn't over. The next video will show you how to weave them together. Subscribe and hit the bell to stay with us. Pope Francis says, trust is the bridge to hope. Will you cross it tonight? Maria clicked subscribe, feeling this was a journey she had to see through. That night, Maria slept deeper than ever, undisturbed by anxious thoughts. The next morning, she woke with a new clarity. She didn't know what combining the 3 words would bring, but she was ready to find out. Maria Delgado sat in her small Bakersfield, California, apartment, her notebook on the table now thick with entries of thank you, forgive, and trust. After 3 weeks of practicing Pope Francis's teachings, Maria felt a tangible shift. Her sleep was no longer haunted by anxiety, and she started seeing life with a spark of hope. She'd reconciled with Sophia after a heartfelt talk, and her mom, though still frail, seemed more upbeat after recent test results. But Maria knew life didn't pause. New challenges, like work pressures and Miguel's dreams, loomed ahead. Tonight, she opened her phone, eager for a new YouTube notification, combining Pope Francis's 3 words, a journey to a new life. Maria clicked the video, feeling like she was entering a new chapter. The narrator's voice rang out, full of inspiration. You've learned thank you to find light, forgive to heal, and trust to let go. Now, Pope Francis shows you how to weave these 3 words into a powerful habit that transforms your life. The narrator revealed that in a 2021 Vatican address, Pope Francis emphasized that when practiced together, the 3 words form an inner ritual, equipping you to face any challenge with peace and strength. To show you the power of combining the 3 words, the narrator said, "Meet Clara." Clara, a baker in Santa Barbara, felt her life unravel after a divorce. She struggled with self-doubt and worry about raising her son alone. One day, Clara heard a radio broadcast citing Pope Francis's 2021 address. She started practicing all 3 words each night, thanking for small joys, like her son's smile, forgiving herself for mistakes, like losing patience, and surrendering financial worries. Clara pictured the ritual as tidying a room, organizing, cleaning, and preparing it for a new day. Slowly, she not only slept better, but opened a small bakery, turning her dream into reality. The 3 words gave Clara a fresh start, the narrator said. Maria felt Clara's story ignite a desire in her. She wanted her life to be more than just surviving. She wanted to truly live. The narrator explained, Pope Francis teaches that the 3 words are a cycle. Thank you opens your heart, forgive cleanses it, and trust hands it to the future. Spend 10 minutes each night practicing all 3, like a ritual to prepare your spirit. Maria opened her notebook, ready. She started with thank you. She recalled Miguel's grin when she helped with his math homework. Thank you for that moment, she whispered. Then she thought of Sophia, who apologized after their fight. Thank you for Sophia growing up. Finally, she thanked herself for persevering. Thank you for not giving up. Next was forgive. She thought of a co-worker who gossiped about her at the store. I forgive her because she has her own struggles. She recalled a moment she snapped at Miguel. I forgive myself because I'm learning to do better. Finally, she forgave the days she felt like a failure. I forgive myself because I'm human. Last was trust. She thought of work pressures, with her manager demanding overtime. I surrender this job because I'll find balance. She thought of her mom, still needing care. I surrender mom's health because I believe she'll be okay. She thought of Miguel with his big dreams. I surrender Miguel's future because I trust his path. As she finished, Maria felt a profound peace, like she'd built a bridge from her soul to a safe place. The narrator stressed, combining the 3 words creates a habit that changes how you live. Research from Harvard University shows positive psychological habits, like gratitude and mindfulness, boost mental health and problem solving. Maria was stunned. This ritual had science behind it. Maria wrote in her notebook, tonight, I thank, forgive, and trust. I'm ready for tomorrow. As she set the pen down, she felt like she'd crafted a piece of art, each word a brushstroke painting a new picture of herself. The narrator shared another story about Miguel, not Maria's son, but a salesman in Fresno trapped in a dead-end job. Miguel adopted the 3 words after watching a video about Pope Francis's address. Each night, he thanked kind customers, forgave himself for low-energy days, and surrendered career worries. Slowly, he not only slept better, but enrolled in an online course, opening new opportunities. The 3 words helped Miguel rediscover his passion, the narrator said. Maria felt inspired. She didn't expect perfection, but she wanted to keep going. The narrator concluded, You've learned to combine the 3 words, but the story isn't over. The next video will show you how to use them in your biggest challenges. Subscribe and hit the bell to stay with us. Pope Francis says, the 3 words are a flame lighting your life. Will you keep that flame burning? Maria clicked subscribe, feeling this was a journey she wanted to share. That night, Maria slept with an unprecedented calm, as if she'd found a piece of herself. The next morning, she woke with a new resolve. She didn't know what challenge lay ahead, but she believed she could face it. Maria Delgado stood in her small Bakersfield, California, apartment, her notebook on the table now a trusted companion each night. After a month of practicing Pope Francis's 3 words, thank you, forgive, and trust, Maria felt like a new person. She slept better, reconciled with Sophia, and found peace facing worries about her mom and Miguel. But life, as Maria knew, always had surprises. Tonight, she got devastating news. Her mom needed emergency surgery, and a store where she worked announced reduced hours, slashing her income. A storm of anxiety hit, and Maria's heart raced. Then a YouTube notification popped up. Pope Francis's 3 words in crisis, your guide to overcoming. Maria clicked the video, hands trembling. The narrator's voice rang out, strong and comforting. You've woven thank you, forgive, and trust into a powerful ritual. Now, Pope Francis shows you how to use them to weather life's biggest storms. The narrator revealed that in a 2022 Vatican address, Pope Francis emphasized that the 3 words, when practiced in tough times, become an inner flame, lighting the way and giving strength to move forward. To show you the power of the 3 words in crisis, the narrator said, meet Sophia, not Maria's daughter, but a social worker in Oakland. Sophia faced a crisis when she lost her job just after her dad was diagnosed with cancer. She felt helpless and scared. One day, Sophia heard an online sermon citing Pope Francis's 2022 address. She started practicing the 3 words each night, thanking for supporters like friends bringing meals, forgiving herself for days she wasn't strong, and surrendering worries about her dad and finances. Sophia pictured the words as 3 candles, each lighting a corner of her darkness. Slowly, she not only slept better, but found a new job and stayed with her dad in his final months. The 3 words carried Sophia through the dark, the narrator said. Maria felt Sophia's story touch her fears. Her mom's surgery would cost thousands, and reduced hours left her unsure how to cope. The narrator explained. Pope Francis teaches that in crisis, the 3 words are compass. Thank you reminds you of what you have, forgive frees you from resentment, and trust gives you courage to keep going. Spend 10 minutes each night practicing them, even when it feels like the world's falling apart. Maria opened her notebook, heart pounding. She started with thank you. She recalled Miguel's smile when he showed her his high test score. Thank you for Miguel's joy, she whispered. And she thought of Sophia, who hugged her after a long shift. Thank you for Sophia being there. Finally, she thanked herself for holding on. Thank you for still standing. Next was forgive. She thought of her store manager, who announced the hour cuts without explanation. I forgive him because he's under pressure too. She recalled snapping at Miguel for being noisy. I forgive myself because I'm doing my best. Finally, she forgave the days she felt powerless. I forgive myself because I can't do everything. Last was trust. She thought of her mom's surgery costs. I surrender this money because I'll find a way, she said. She thought of her mom in the hospital. I surrender the surgery because I believe she'll be okay. She thought of her in her kid's future. I surrender tomorrow because I trust we'll make it. As she finished, Maria felt a new strength, like she held a torch in the storm. The narrator stressed. The 3 words in crisis are a source of power. Research from Yale University shows that psychological habits like gratitude and resilience help people overcome adversity. Maria was amazed. This ritual had science behind it. Maria wrote in her notebook, tonight, I thank, forgive, and trust. I'll get through this storm. As she set the pen down, she felt like she'd built a fortress around her soul. The narrator shared another story about Juan, a farmer in Modesto who lost his crop in a drought. One adopted the 3 words after a friend mentioned Pope Francis's address. Each night, he thanked his family, forgave himself for bad decisions, and surrendered worries about the next harvest. Slowly, he not only slept better, but secured a loan to replant. The 3 words helped Juan rise again, the narrator said. Maria felt inspired. She didn't expect things to be easy, but she believed she could face them. The next day, she called the hospital, arranging a payment plan. She talked to Sofia and Miguel, explaining the situation and gaining their support. She even found a part-time job to offset her income loss. The 3 words didn't erase her problems, but they gave her clarity and courage. The narrator concluded, "You've seen the power of the 3 words in the storm. But the journey doesn't end. More stories await. Subscribe and hit the bell to keep exploring life-changing lessons." Pope Francis says, "The 3 words are a flame guiding you through darkness." Share this flame with those you love. Maria clicked subscribe, feeling an urge to spread her story. She wrote one final line in her notebook, "I've overcome, and I'll keep going." That night, Maria slept with a profound peace, knowing the storm was still there, but she had a flame to guide her. She woke, ready for the new day, carrying the 3 words like a talisman.